What up, crypto fam? It's Phantom. We got the little dog with us today, hoping she can help pump Bitcoin to 50K over the way things are going today. Over the next day or two, I think we start to hit these resistance zones. I was thinking possibly the end of the week, it may be a little bit sooner than that, based off of today's events. That said, we are starting to push towards the weekly resistance. We're getting held up a little bit right at this 47K zone. There's actually a monthly resistance that we're really hitting right at this point. That said, if you follow the channel, just over a week ago, we started talking about Bitcoin making its turn, and it's done that. So I'm happy to ride the coattails of the predictions that we made. Definitely made some profits off of that. We just yesterday on the stream talked about VeChain and the amount of volume that we saw on the daily candle. It did almost half of the previous day's volume in just an hour of the opening candle. So threw some money at that, took about 15% profit off of that this morning. It did go a little bit up. It went over just over 20%, but always happy with 10-15% profits. Always happy to take the wins out of the market because there's too many people feeding losses, and they get so caught up in the winning trades that they lose sight of what's going on. Right now I'm kind of out of all my positions now that Bitcoin's at least a monthly resistance level, and we're just on the cusp of coming up to strong weekly resistance. So there's going to be a lot of volatility in this, and when Bitcoin does pull back and retrace, it's going to pull back and retrace stronger than the altcoin, or the altcoin is going to pull back stronger than Bitcoin does. Bitcoin will pull back, but the altcoins will always pull back harder. When we do get to an alt season, obviously they will pump harder, but I don't see the altcoins really and outpacing Bitcoin in a long-term setting until Bitcoin dominance kind of hits an all-time high, and then as we flip with Bitcoin's price up and Bitcoin's dominance up, when that rotates so that altcoins start to come back, that's when you really see alt season. That's when you really see altcoins pumping. It's a fantastic time to be alive when that happens. The altcoins they go nuts, and it's great to see. That said, this is very much as we've predicted on this channel. This is very much what we've been expecting. We've been following this. We've been kind of waiting for this move to happen. So I know that there's been a lot of bears on Twitter, and I think some of them are eating their words yet. We're not out of the woods just yet, but this is definitely very strong momentum going to the upside. This is what we want to see for, the full turn of momentum to a bullish cycle again. So every time we build new confirmations on the way up, we're reducing our invalidation zones, and we can start looking more and more forward to a full bull season, and then hopefully a strong altcoin season to boot. So I'm out of trades just at the moment. Obviously not financial advice. Just while Bitcoin kind of does its thing at this resistance level, I don't really want to play the chop. I'm more of a, put some money in and pull it out just before it hits a resistance level. I'm happy with making 10-15% profits per swing, and waiting for the next position. It's important to let the price come to you. Don't go chasing it. Every time you go chasing it, 75% of the time you're going to get wrecked. So have a plan for the market going up, have a plan for the market going down, have a plan for the market going sideways, and just execute the plan based off the logic that the charts are feeding you, the data that it's giving you. Right now we're at a resistance zone, so we could move down, we could move sideways, we could move up. Since that's not really known, and I don't really have any validation or invalidation levels triggering off, I'm happy to stay out of the market and let it do its thing until it shows a confirmation or invalidation that's clear to me. Then I'll get back in. So taking a look at the fear and greed index, it looks like we've bumped up to 60. So obviously there's quite a bit of the market that's moving towards the greed zone, which is where we're at now. And I'm hoping that we don't get too far into greed territory. When we kind of remain in the greed territory, I start to get nervous of stronger pullbacks and things like that, because when the market does get comfortable, it reacts. So I'll be watching closely. The news articles that I found interesting today, one, it's official, the EU says no to provisions restricting Bitcoin. A relief for Bitcoin in the EU, the European Union proposed markets and crypto assets regulatory package has decided not to advance the controversial provision targeted at limiting the use of proof of work cryptocurrencies due to the energy consumption concerns. Before moving to the trilogue negotiations between Parliament, Council, and Commission, the EU lawmakers were trying to reach a consensus in terms of better regulating the crypto space. The current draft does not include the provision for banning cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin operating a proof of work protocol. So this is a good thing. They obviously came up with a bunch of bearish news about this, saying that they were going to put a stop to anything that's proof of work, meaning essentially anything that works similar to Bitcoin that's not kind of a proof of stake protocol, which would have put a damper temporarily on Bitcoin. I'm still in the belief that the more government does push back on us, the more bullish we will be long term, just because I think we're at a point where it's too late to put the genie back in the bottle. And I think they should have been educating themselves on these technologies years ago, instead of now when we are starting to trend upwards as far as adoption. The other cool news article comes from the EU as well. According to a recent report published by CNBC, the UK government is preparing to unveil its cryptocurrency regulatory framework in the near future. So my guess is this is the UK following kind of what Biden did, putting task out for people to start learning cryptocurrency, what they can do to properly regulate it, with smart regulation versus which regulation that people push back on, and how they can start working side by side with the cryptocurrency powers that be, such as Gemini, Coinbase, FTX, big companies like that. They're going to want to start leveraging their knowledge and information in the crypto space, and it looks like the governments are starting to want to do that. I think for two reasons. One, I think they want the education that they can leverage from those companies, but two, I think they want an inside track to those companies so that if something does occur where they do need mass types of information on user accounts that have, say, very large positions in Bitcoin, that to ensure that they're filing taxes properly, I think they want to get in like Flynn with these larger exchanges so that they're able to tap them on the shoulder when they do need data. That said, I'm hoping the education steers the government in a direction that this is something that is good for the change of the banking system. That it's not something to be pushed back on, denied, or over-regulated, because the innovation will happen elsewhere. And the last article that I have, which is really bullish, Brazil's Rio de Janeiro is ready to accept Bitcoin for property payments starting next year. This is a big deal. This is another part of the world that's accepting Bitcoin as a legal tender, even though it is for just tax payments. This is how we start out, right? You have to put one foot in front of the other, and every time a new place starts accepting and adopting Bitcoin, it's forward movement for cryptocurrency as a whole. So I'm extremely happy to see this. If you follow the channel, you know I will always push back on exchanges holding wallets, and I will always push back on governments wanting to accept only tax payments in crypto, because they're going to have your wallet address and they'll be able to track funds from that. So it's important to make sure that you are only using anonymous types of wallets, and that if you do happen to make tax payments through Bitcoin, it's best to try to convolute the process and ensure that it's, as difficult to track as possible. They're only going to go so many hops until they start developing software that will kind of do it for them. I will be paying my taxes in regular cash payment, just because I don't want them having my wallet information just yet. I want to see where they go with regulation and how hard they push back on cryptocurrency as a whole. So that said, I hope that, if you did watch the stream yesterday, you got in early to VeChain. It's still looks like it's on the rise. We've made some 20% gain since I announced this yesterday. So if you did get on that, congratulations. If you got on the call that we made just over a week ago with Bitcoin making a turning point, if you got in on that, glad to hear it. I'm happy that the information's being used. If you appreciate the info, if you consider giving a follow or subscribing, I'll take any type of altcoins in the comments. Happy to do that. Until then, I'm really going to be watching Bitcoin closely. I'm kind of out of altcoins just at the moment until Bitcoin chooses a direction where it wants to go with this monthly resistance that it's at. I'll kind of show you it if you want to see it. The lines are going to be off, obviously, because these were drawn on a weekly chart. But you can see right here, this line right here is where we're fighting. It's the 47,100 line, and it's a monthly resistance zone. So I think if we can make a good push past that, all it does is take us into the weekly resistance zone. So this is kind of in my opinion, a chop area. If you're on top of it and you want to make swings off of it, I think it can be extremely profitable, but it's extremely dangerous territory to be in right now. So I'm happy to wait for clearer positions to open up, to wait for the charts to give me a clearer direction of where we're going, near to short term. So that said, I hope you have a great rest of your Sunday. I hope you have an amazing Monday. I hope the information's helpful. I hope it's beneficial. If you wouldn't mind, again, giving a follow or subscribing, it'd really help me out. Lets me know that there's interest in this type of information, and I'll keep pushing out content. Until then, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.